Hello everybody and welcome back to Full House Sports here, myself Charlie. And before the video starts, please like, comment, and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated as I try and become a one-man sports news bandwagon. A story that has really caught my eye, and I think a lot of football fans' eyes recently, is what on earth is happening to Turkish football, or what on earth is happening in Turkish football. It seems like the scandal that has sort of started with murmurs and whispers is now really starting to explode, and the story is only getting bigger. 1,027 players have been implicated in a betting scandal that goes right from the very top, including Fenerbahce's captain and a Galatasaray player, Baltachi, all the way down to the bottom, and involves as well up to over 500 match officials. It is a story that has caused quite a stir in Turkish football and has been compared to the infamous Calciopoli scandal that gripped Italian football back in the mid-2000s. As I say, the investigation first began back in November when the Turkish Football Federation ordered the suspension of many match officials surrounding the fact that many of them held betting accounts and were actively gambling. This was then further investigated by prosecutors who have found out that not just officials but also club presidents, club vice presidents and players, as I say, have been implicated in this, surrounding the idea of manipulating match results in favour of certain teams in order to win on bets. There is always been, I think, these murmurs in Turkish football. Of course, infamously, Jose Mourinho, who had a spell at Fenerbahce recently, spoke quite openly about his feeling around the match officials, saying about how he felt it was highly biased. He felt that the officials were biased towards certain clubs and that the officials made the league a bit of a joke. Well, you would have to say, from an outsider looking in, this does further support that. Now, obviously, those not involved or who we believe not to be involved in the scandal have come out with shock and have also talked very strongly around the idea of strong suspensions. But the question is how deep does this run and how often has this been going on and how big have the results that they have been manipulating been? What has been going on behind the scenes in Turkish football? Has there potentially been results being affected that could affect title races, European places, relegations? And then that opens up a whole hornet's nest on Pandora's box, of potential court cases with teams saying, well, we shouldn't have been relegated because of this happening, and also potential suing and legal fees. I think this is only the start of something that could really explode and, if not handled properly, could really lead to the downfall of Turkish football, which we don't want to see. You know, Galatasaray this year have had some good results in the Champions League. Fenerbahce, Besiktas, etc. I know they're not in Europe. Samsunspor have been doing really well in the Conference League. But this is massively overshadowing and is not going away. The Turkish Football Federation have really got a big job on their hands. Of course, some of the bets do relate to years ago and historic actions, it should be pointed out. For example, Baldacci, the Galatasaray player, this relates to when he was a youth player and he claims that he didn't know that it was illegal at the time. He didn't have that knowledge, which may feasibly make sense. Of course, the sceptics would argue that he did know that. Like I say, it is a very intriguing story to follow because it is a real major nation in European football. I know it's not a top 5 league, but it's up there. It's near there now. Teams regularly compete in Europe and some huge clubs that are very much involved in a huge scandal. As always, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated. I try and become a one-man sports news bandwagon. Have a great day.